Hey folks, it's Nick Granville. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, thanks for joining me. If you've been around for a while, then thank you also for joining me. I do all kinds of stuff on this channel, from guitar to my professional career stuff, gigs, concerts, stuff like that, gear demos, all the kind of usual stuff. So today I thought I wanted to talk about the Fractal VP4. I've been playing around with this thing for a couple of weeks now, and I've found 3 features that I don't hear anybody talk about, and I kind of describe them almost as hidden features. They're really great. So the first one I'll talk about is the volume pedal. So at the moment I'm hooked up here, and I've got an expression pedal, which is, at the moment I'm just using a Dunlop mini volume pedal. You can use whatever, the Fractal one. I've got one of the Fractal ones. You just run out of the expression output. And now what you get is you get a volume pedal, but one of the important things about it is if you run a volume pedal normally, you're engaging a pot which is making the tone darker as you turn down. But in this case, we're actually running an expression pedal, so it's happening within the unit. So you hear there's no loading on that pot, so it's because it's an expression pedal, right? So it's actually, you're getting a very even volume change, right? Which is the reason players like Tom Bukovac will actually run like a Vertex Boost or one of those pedals, and then they run the volume pedal as an expression off it. And you get a much more even... Notice the tone doesn't change, and that's really important to me. So that's one feature that I found that is really awesome. Second feature that I found, that's kind of a hidden feature, is you can access the tuner on the unit. By doing so, you press these 2 buttons and you get to the tuner, right? And then you have tap tempo, but you also have the tuner. One cool thing is if you set up your volume pedal to be in the heel down position that the tuner comes on. You'll see I pulled it to heel down. Tuners come on. I can tune. And I'm back, right? Now, that's a really fantastic feature because I want to get to the tuner quickly, but I also don't kind of want to have to press buttons or anything. I just turn my volume down, which I'm going to do between songs anyway, right? I turn my volume down. Sometimes I actually turn my volume down, like I'll do it on the guitar, but more often than not, it's just the volume pedal. I pull it back. It can be a little disconcerting not being able to see what's on the screen. You're seeing the tuner, but there are other ways around that. If you need to see that, what you do is you keep your volume up and you turn your guitar down instead, right? And then you can see what's on the screen. But having that tuner there on the heel down position, fantastic. So that's the second feature that I just don't hear people talk about. That's awesome. And the third one I'll talk about is the EQ that's in here. Now, for years, I've always used amps that have very simple controls, like I have a Victoria Deluxe. With these amps, like a Deluxe, for example, you have a volume and a tone control. So your amp is in the corner of the room, you can just get a whole lot of bass build-up. There's not much you can do about it at that point. You can turn the tone control up, but that really just gets you more brightness. It doesn't really change that. So an EQ pedal is actually a fantastic thing to have. It's super handy. So how do we get to that in the VP4? Well, so what we do is we start from here and we take the page across button and you press it once, twice, 3 times. And you have a fully featured EQ, which you have these 4 rotary controls in the select thing. So you can adjust 4 at a time, then you switch across to the next 4. See? Fantastic. So you can now EQ your guitar sound depending on what's going on within here. Now that's not a block, it's an extra thing that's on here, which you have in the Fractal units like the FM3 and things like that. But you can now have an EQ to be able to shape your sound depending on the room with what's going on with your amp. And that can be really handy because you might have your amp set just where you usually like it, where it's set, everything's working. And now you can kind of use this just to sculpt a little bit of what might be needed in the room. Fantastic thing to have. That's one I don't really hear people talking about, and to me that's a really powerful tool. And bonus, this is one I actually saw Leon Todd talking about. I think this is fantastic. This has SPDIF out. right? So you could go SPDIF out digital into your recording software, and then you have a really clean digital, no analog conversion loss sound of your effects, which you could reamp, right? But you could also run into a Fractal FM3 and then sort of essentially pair these two units together. That would be fantastic, because then your FM3 could be amp modeling and say reverb, and this could do delay, drives, everything else if you wanted to. That, to me, having SPDIF is SPDIF, however you want to say it, is a really powerful tool. There is MIDI on here as well. I don't really use MIDI with my rigs, but you could. Maybe that's something you want to do. Hey, look, if you found this useful, please like and subscribe. I post twice a week on here, and I do a live stream a week. Sometimes I put extra stuff up, shorts, all kinds of stuff like that. But it's all guitar-related stuff, because that's what I do. I'm a pro guitar player. I make my living playing these things, which I realize how fortunate I am to get to do that. So I do session work, I do theatre shows, I do live shows. I do a little bit of teaching from time to time. So yeah, I'm very lucky to get to do this. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.